Hey, sweet friends, welcome to today's explainer video. We're jumping right into decoding the fascinating literal hardware inside our heads that's purpose is built for human connection. So, if you're looking to really understand how our minds handle stress, connection, and emotional repair, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're exploring some incredibly insightful source material, and I'll reference all of that in the notes. And this material maps out our brain's relational circuits. We're going to dive both into the physiological and theological frameworks that the text presents for healing trauma and reaching true emotional maturity. You know that feeling when you're in the middle of a tense conversation with somebody you love and you suddenly get this overwhelming urge to just turn around and walk away? Or maybe you felt a sudden intense flash of anger and you just wanted to yell and make the whole problem disappear. Well, I know it's not just me. We've all been there. And understanding exactly why that happens, why we suddenly just short circuit, is why this neurobiology is absolutely crucial to our daily lives. It's actually not just a personality quirk, it's a physiological response. So here's our quick roadmap for today's explainer. We'll start with the brain's relational circuits, figure out if you're a bear or a turtle, look at the 19 lifeboat skills, map out relational maturity, and finally, look at the Emmanuel approach. Part one, the brain's relational circuits. Okay, let's get into the core of this. To understand human interaction, we really have to look at the wiring that makes it all happen. The sources point out that a massive part of our brain is specifically dedicated to what they call relational circuits, or RCs for short. Think of them as a neurological hardware designed to run our relationships. This brings us to a really important concept from the text. It's called VCR, which stands for the vital states of connection and regulation. When your relational circuits are online, you're in that VCR state. Your connection with others is effortless and you stay emotionally regulated. But when those circuits blow a fuse, usually because of stress, fear, or some past trigger, we literally lose our ability to relate authentically. We drop out of VCR and drop right into survival mode. Section 2. Are you a bear or a turtle? So, what does it actually look like when our VCR drops offline? The source material uses a really vivid analogy here, categorizing our defense mechanisms into two distinct types: the bear and the turtle. The bear goes on the offensive. Think anger, blaming, attacking, and controlling. The turtle, though, goes completely on the defensive, withdrawing, shutting down, just hiding in its shell. They look like total opposites, right? But the text makes a brilliant point. They stem from exactly the same place. They're both fear based defense mechanisms of a non relational brain, trying to avoid toxic shame. When those circuits are off, you aren't really interacting with a person anymore. You're just interacting with their defense mechanism. How do you catch this happening in real time? Well, the text gives us a super helpful symptom checklist. Basically, warning signs that your VCR state is failing. You might suddenly just want to make a person or a problem vanish. You completely lose the desire to listen. Your mind gets locked in like a laser. Whatever is upsetting you is all you can focus on. You get the urge to fight, freeze, or aggressively judge the other person. Recognizing these signs is a real game changer. When you spot them, the best thing you can do is literally step back, take a breather before you cause any collateral damage. Moving on to section 3, the 19 lifeboat brain skills. Now, how do we get the power back on since we've short circuited. The source material introduces this great metaphor. A trained brain is basically a personal lifeboat on a stormy emotional sea. And just like a physical lifeboat needs gear and a capable crew to navigate rough water, our brain relies on 19 distinct learned skills to stay afloat and keep those relational circuits firing. Ideally, we pick these up from our caregivers when we're little. But here's the amazing thing about brain plasticity. We can actually train our brains to learn these skills at any stage of life. The text outlines 19 skills in total, but let's look at 3 foundational ones. Skill 1 is share joy, which means building bonds through face-to-face delight. Skill 2 is soothe myself, the ability to just calm down and find simple quiet after a huge emotional spike. And skill 4, this one is massive, create appreciation. The text highlights that deliberate appreciation is quite literally the neurological key that resettles your nervous system. It releases bonding hormones and it acts as a bridge to boot your VCR state back up. And the source actually gives us a physical hack to jumpstart this when we're stuck. It uses the vagus nerve, which runs right down the center of your body. So try this. Step 1, find the center of your chest. Step 2, just tap back and forth with your fingers. Step 3, deliberately think of something you genuinely appreciate, something that makes you just sigh and go, ah. By pacing through that, you're manually rebooting the system and forcing those relational circuits back online. Section 4, Stages of Relational Maturity. Now, mastering these skills doesn't just happen in a vacuum. The text shows us how it maps directly onto how we grow up, outlining a chronological roadmap. We start at the infant stage when we learn to receive care and joy. Then the child stage when we focus on self-expression and asking for what we need. Then adult, which is all about mutual satisfaction and peer groups. Next is parent, where the focus shifts to protecting and comforting others. And finally, the elder stage, marked by a community identity and living transparently. So here is the big takeaway. When we fail to process a painful event, we develop weak spots in these specific stages. That's why under pressure, an adult might suddenly react like a child because a maturity milestone was stunted by unresolved trauma. And finally, section 5, the Emmanuel approach, my favorite. Let's see how the source material pulls this all together. So here, the text shifts from general neurobiology into a specific theological framework designed to heal those emotional weak spots, just like we talked about. It's called the Emmanuel approach. As we explore this, we're simply reporting on the text's unique blend of brain science and interactive Christian theology. My favorite term, neurotheology. The core idea here is that a person can process physiological trauma and psychological trauma by building a direct interactive connection with God, specifically by using those exact neurological principles of positive memory and appreciation that reset our relational circuits. The sources break this process down into 4 distinct steps. First, recall a positive memory. Second, deliberately stir up appreciation with that memory, which turns the VCR state on. Third, establish what we call an interactive connection with God. And fourth, once that neurological and theological home base is totally secure, you can safely look at and address unresolved distressing memories. The gratitude literally acts as a neurological safety net. What's really profound here is how the text completely redefines trauma. It argues that the psychological trauma isn't just about surviving some massive catastrophe. Actually, a trauma is simply any painful experience that you've failed to successfully process at the time. Let that sink in for a second. The Emmanuel approach is framed as a guided method to go back, finish that unprocessed journey, and metabolize the pain so it stops having toxic power over your present. And these sources that I will again reference in the notes are incredibly clear on the end goal here. Whether you're practicing the 19 lifeboat skills, tapping your chest to reset your vagus nerve, or using the Emmanuel approach, the point isn't to just stop feeling bad. It's not just symptom management. The real goal is clearing out those emotional roadblocks, get back to shared joy, and massively expand our capacity for deep, intimate relationships. It's all about keeping that vital connection strong. And I want to wrap up our explainer today with this powerful thought from the text. It's a great reminder that when we are truly connected, operating from a place of love instead of fear, we don't need to attack like the bear or hide like the turtle. So, what's your relational temperature right now? Are your circuits glowing brightly in a full VCR state? Or do you need a little appreciation to switch them back on? What's one small thing you can do today to step out of defense mode and back into connection? If you were interested in trying out Emmanuel prayer, I would be so honored to lead you through the process. Feel free to reach out to me in the comments. Have a blessed day.